Hello, today we're going to talk about the Draeger PAC III general usage and calibration. The PAC III is a single gas unit that can be configured for multiple sensors. In this scenario, I'm using carbon monoxide as a sensor and for calibration use. For a calibration, you'll need your Draeger PAC III, if you can zoom out a little. About a half a liter to 1 liter per minute regulator, set flow rate. Your calibration adapter, a piece of tubing, and then your calibration gas cylinder. If you can zoom back in, you'll see it is carbon monoxide. This is set at 250 ppm. You want to ensure that your calibration value on your cylinder matches that you configure on your instrument. So at this point, what I'm going to do is take the Draeger PAC III, turn the instrument on. You'll see there's 3 buttons on the display, and any configuration of holding these buttons will get you into different menus, which you can follow through into your user manual if you need to. At this point, to turn it on, you press and hold the big button off to the side. It has a little horn. Press and hold it, and you'll see Draeger come on the display, and it's going to cycle through the display, telling you it's a CO. What the range is, the TWA, the STEL, alarm 1, alarm 2, and it'll come on with a screen. And down here, this is a battery low indicator. This here tells you that you have informational warnings that you need to look at. Something's happened, so it'll tell you what's happened. The data logger is enabled, and the TWA and STEL is enabled, is what the H means. So at this point, if we want to see what that informational warning is, and also to get into the calibration mode, you simply hold these 2 buttons, press and hold them. That turns it off. And if you turn it back on again. So to turn the instrument off, you have to hold these 2 buttons down together. Again, it shows you the setup. And you press and hold this button, and you keep holding it down until it flashes into a menu to give you the back, the daily use, calibrate, and you can scroll down. These are an up arrow, down arrow. So you can scroll down. You can look at daily use, calibrate, configure, and that's it. So if I go into daily use and hit enter, I can view the warnings. It's saying the warning was the span cal failed. So we're going to try to do a calibration on this instrument again. And to back out of this, you scroll down. There we go. Go to your back, you have to find your back button. And then you go into calibrate. And something to show you as well, which is interesting, is you can set up what's called hotkeys with the Draeger PAC III. And that's these 2 keys. You can program those to do your 0 calibration, which is done frequently every day, before each use. And also you can use it to set up for your span calibration. A hotkey is just you pressing 1 key to get into that mode without having to go through the other mode to get into calibrate. So if I press and hold this down arrow, it has a hotkey set up to be able to 0 the sensor. So you have to keep holding it. Then it'll say fresh air, start counting down. If you didn't want to do it, you let go. If you want a fresh air 0, you just keep holding it through the countdown. At the bottom it says fresh air 3, 2, 1, and then you just enter, and it does a fresh air 0. It says wait, valid. So that becomes very useful when you have to 0 this every single day before use, other than having to go through this calibration menu to get to it. And fresh air 0 should be done to give a baseline 0 so the sensor knows what fresh air is in comparison to the target gas we're going to use for calibration. So we press and hold this button again to get to calibrate. And then it's going to ask you for a password. That's why your hotkey is important, because you can bypass all this. The password you need to enter is 1111. So you enter up to 1 and then accept it. Now you can 0, span, you can verify the cal concentration, your calibration gas you're using, and there's your hotkeys you can enable. To enable the hotkeys, you simply make sure that they're checked. The fresh air would be this one as a hotkey. The span would be the top one for a hotkey. You typically don't want to set the span as a hotkey because you don't want people going into a span mode without having the calibration gas present, entering through that, and then throwing off your calibration. So typically you just leave your fresh air adjusted. You click the back button. The cal gas you want to set up is carbon monoxide. That's what we're using. The cal concentration is 250, which you can tell on the cylinder is 250. So you can accept that. We've already done the 0, so at this point you could do a 0 fresh air calibration, but we've already done that by pressing the hotkey. The span calibration, you want to attach your cal adapter. So the gas will flow through. And then you have your tubing, and you want to attach your regulator to your cylinder. Attach the tubing to the regulator. Attach it to your calibration adapter. At this point, you can hit this. You can enter the span and turn on your calibration gas. And you'll start to see the reading start to rise. You want to wait for this reading to stabilize before you hit your enter button, as it's indicating here, because you want to make sure that's stabilized, and then it'll make an adjustment after you hit enter. If it's still stabilizing, you can really be off on your calibration. We're looking for 250 parts per million. You see it's still, it's basically stabilizing now. It's at 247, 248, 249, 250. After about 30 seconds or so, if the reading's somewhat stable around 1 to 2 ppm, you can go ahead and press your enter button. When you press your enter button, it'll say wait, span valid. At that point, you can go ahead and turn off your calibration gas, hit your enter button, takes you back, and you'll hear it go into alarm because now you're not in the span calibration mode where it nullifies the relay for the alarm. If you go to your back button, go back, you'll see that it's in alarm condition right now. It's above the 25 or 35 parts per million, however your alarm is set. And even when it drops below, it's called what's a latching alarm. It'll stay in alarm until you acknowledge, yes, I know you've been in alarm. That's by hitting your enter button again here. That's what that horn and no with the X through it means. You're acknowledging your alarm condition. So now it's going back down to 0. Your unit is calibrated. The I for the warning is now gone, and the unit is ready for use.